40K Fashion Arbiters, May 2026. Official. New Ork Warbikes. Leak? In our first image here, you can see that there are some minis, but they're a bit blurry. So blurry, in fact, I'm not sure any of them are actually a warbike at all. And that's never a good look. Now, zooming out, we can see that those minis are in fact on the far side of the table. And honestly, who could expect crystal clear vision at our age and that distance? I mean, it's got to be pretty far, right? I'm sorry, what? How small are the tables these days? In our next picture, we have a genuine new Ork Warbiker. He's got a fashionable yet safe look, with his black helmet adorned with two modest yet menacing horns, and a pair of retro chic goggles to keep his peepers peepin'. Now, aside from that, and the one shoulder pad that is painted in a, let's be frank here, a pretty dated checkerboard. I know, it's hard to do, and boys do love to show off, but this ain't Crazy Taxi, and orcs ain't Harlequins. And aside from that, we can't see much of his garb, so it's time to move on to critiquing his bike. First off, it's red, it's a warbike, it's perfect. 10 out of 10. Even the bit of black on the front is A-okay, because it highlights the red and gives it depth. Love the giant horns or teeth or whatever they are sticking out from the front wheel. It's so grrr. They're beautiful. Once again, 10 out of 10. Overall, from this angle, without doing the math, I've got to guess this is like a 7.9 or 8.1. A very good score. I do want to point out, though, that the guns, I think they may be machine guns, on either side of the bike are matching. And we did notice that. But orcs aren't particularly known for caring about such nuance of the artistic world as symmetry. No one would ever believe that an orc would turn down putting a bigger, badder, boomier gun on one side of his bike just because he couldn't find a matching gun for the other side. Sure, to your human eyes, the symmetry is better, but to an orc, one gun being bigger than the other is fine. What they don't like is when one gun is smaller than the other. Next, a quick break from the bikes. Now here we have a bit of a scene, but we're only going to be looking at the Ork Weird Boy today. And I have got to say, I am in love with his Frankenstein brain nodes. And the steampunk multi-power adapter thing on the back of his head screams self-confidence in a way I am so here for. But where are his shoes? Leave it to an orc to spend hours and hours building a new toy and then neglect to put on appropriate footwear when he runs outside to play with it. Everyone, and I mean everyone, notices your shoes. Even if it's only because they plan on stealing them after you die. However that happens. But really, we need to talk about his staff of power, which is so cool, and the way he's holding it, which is not. Did he used to work for Ork and Smaller Orcs Moving Company and he just can't stop carrying imaginary boxes around? Is he about to bend it in half like some strongman at the Orc Circus? He's holding onto it like a nervous 9-year-old holds on the guardrail of his first roller coaster ride. Probably why he forgot his shoes. Now here we have all three Warbikers. And first off, I just have to say that as a squad, they look fabulous. Mirroring concept or end effect while minimizing literal copycatting is exactly what we're after here, and these three are happy to oblige. For instance, we can see they each have their own variation on front wheel guards, from metal and bone to metal and metal to, well, like a very little amount of metal and not much else really. But looking more closely at the third bike, we can see that he probably draws the short straw most days out of the week. And it seems like it's on purpose. First of all, his bike is not even red when it could be. And he's wearing his goggles on his forehead while swinging a metal chain right in front of his own face. And although it is very cool that he has horns on the front of his bike instead of a random light bulb, I forgot to deduct points for that on the first biker. But I should have. For some completely unthinkable reason, he also has a metal saw blade up there, pointed directly at his own head. That's not where saw blades go. I am all about fashion and danger and moving fast and breaking things. But let me tell you, I have seen a 12-inch Sister Stiletto snap mid-runway in Milan on Terra, and that much blood is never a good look. And this would be worse. -3 points. Now on to Big Daddy Warbiker. And that is a waddy if I've ever seen one. He has the best of all three worlds. Both the other bikers and then some third mystery world that has all the even better stuff in it. Giant skull with horns on the front of the bike, and yet no self-immolating saw blade. Giant horns on his own helmet while actually managing to wear his goggles. Instead of a chain next to his face, he's brandishing a devastating chain axe. But most important of all, he has distinct yet comparable armaments on either side of his bike. At least they're painted slightly differently, and that's good enough for me. I'm not so sure exactly what's going on with that big fancy white pole that looks like it's been wedged between his cheeks, but it certainly does make a statement. And it might help explain that particular face that he's making. I'd say he pulls it off, though. Out. Whatever. Final grades. We have our blurry minis at 6.2. We have our first Warbiker coming in at 8.1. We have the Weird Boy coming in at 7.7. We have our second Warbiker. 5.3. Not so good. And our final Big Daddy Boss Waddy, I hear they call him a knob Warbiker, coming in at a whopping 8.6. Beautiful. This has been 40K Fashion Police. This has been 40K Fashion Arbiters. This has been 40K